Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey guys, EDDBUD here, and I'm back with one of those long run shoe tests for you. Today it's the turn of the HOKA Oni Carbon X2 up on the test blocks. Let's see how it shapes up. So long run today, 12 miles, 19.3 kilometers, at an average of 7 minutes 40 seconds per mile, which is about 4 minutes 46 per kilometer. Today I stayed firmly in my aerobic heart rate zone in the HOKA Oni Carbon X2. Before we get into the main part of the video guys, it really does help the channel out if you'd hit that subscribe button and also click the bell for notifications when we launch those new videos. And you can help the channel grow by giving this video a thumbs up like. Dankeschön. So conditions were bright and clear out there. I waited a little bit till things warmed up. It was very, very cold this morning. Things warmed up a little bit by about 10 AM. I think it was up to about 7 degrees or something then. Early on it was very cold. Conditions out there were dry as a bone on my typical route. Concrete road and gravel surfaces were taken in, though there was a little bit of wind there to slow you down and also cool you down once the sun had come out. Good to get back to a 50-mile week this week, 80 plus kilometers, and it's no coincidence that the ZMAX Invincible was involved at some point. That is helping me to get out on days where otherwise I would use them as a recovery day. So those few extra miles just all add up. Sticking to steady paces today out there on the longer run. It was like an out and back 6 mile kind of route. Just a touch of elevation, nothing too crazy. So how did the Carbon X perform? Let's dive right in. You guys know that I do tend to have some issues with uppers on HOKA Oni shoes, though in fairness the Carbon X2 performed really well in terms of the upper today. A slightly lighter mesh here, and it's nowhere near as generous in terms of upper material as the Clifton 7 or that Mach 4 that I tried out earlier in the week. Breathable enough today as the temperatures started to escalate. Spring is most certainly here. The upper lockdown and fit stayed firmly consistent throughout the miles, utilising the knot of the runners. Good thing too is the laces are very, very long in this shoe. I think you've probably got enough if there were even some extra eyelets on either side. And then what do you do with all the rest of those laces? You can only tie 2 or 3 knots. After the run, the decent length in the shoe and the height in the toe box meant my toes were untouched. And my foot generally felt pretty decent actually. Doesn't really feel like I've been out on a long run today. Upper performing well there, no blisters, no rubbing, and most importantly, no hot spots. Good support in the heel, and the tongue stayed put like a well-behaved, obedient mongrel. Only a little bit of moisture soaked up in the trunk here with that softer Achilles cushion. That's always the place where some moisture gets absorbed. And a little bit in the upper section, in the tongue actually, that top section. It seemed to soak up quite a bit of sweat. Overall, in the upper, a promising performance from this carbon contender. Midsole wise, it does look like there's quite a lot of cushion in the Carbon X2. If we were to compare it up against the Mach 4 for example, I think there's about 4 or 5 extra millimeters of cushion in the heel, though it is about ½ an ounce heavier in weight, which is probably down to the carbon plate and the extra midsole cushion. Despite the higher stack here though, I do find the Carbon X2 quite a firm shoe. Way firmer in fact than the Mach 4. And it's a relatively unforgiving ride, especially when you compare it to the price of the Saucony Endorphin Speed or even the Adios Pro. That's kind of where this shoe comes in terms of price. Not to say that the Carbon X2 feels tough underfoot, but I found it just really dictates my form. It wants you to run in a very specific way. Some people might like that, some people may not. I found though that I had to succumb to its orders and run at a much faster cadence today at my steady speed. Indicates to me that people with a shorter stride and a much faster turnover will enjoy this one. I think if you're a gigantor strider, then it may not work for you. I think it's down to that rounded, rigid rocker action. Would I want to run a marathon in this shoe? No chance. I think if anything it's closer to the Asics Meta Racer than any other shoe. Certainly not like a Vaporfly in any way. Though in fairness, running in my aerobic heart rate zone today, I looked at the watch towards the end and realised I was running faster than I thought I had been. Though I have to say my hips do feel their age after running in this one today. Those searching for copious cushion will find a moribund feeling here. Outsole wise, I've got typical wear appearing in the midfoot area here and also on the outer side of the heel. But none of that's really unexpected, as what I typically see. Outsole width in the key areas of the shoe does help really in terms of stability. There's not a single time I felt unstable wearing the Carbon X today, just a sure-footed feeling across the whole run. I think for some runners, hearing this will be like music to their ears. I do receive many messages from viewers of the channel who find the overly cushioned squash and spring of some of the recently released super shoes really doesn't work for them. I think sometimes those overly cushioned shoes can cause more problems than they solve. Many people are looking for a more conservative cushion, and I think that's exactly what these supply really. Just something with a bit more stability. You don't feel as if you're falling into this vortex of cushion. Not everybody wants that. I know some people really prefer a slightly firmer feel underfoot. I think I'm one of those people actually. I didn't have a bad time in this shoe today. I think if I ran in it more often, then my body would get used to it a little more. Haven't been able to test the Carbon X2 out yet in any wet weather. It's absolutely dry as a bone. Certainly a more engaging ride than the 1080 V11 that I reviewed last week on the long run. Though you do get an oddly detached ground feel here in the Carbon X2, which is odd really because there's so much stack here, but it doesn't really translate to a forgiving sort of ride. A strange shoe that I'm yet to fully figure out or fathom. But I shall keep investigating. If you've been using the Carbon X2 from HOKA One, let me know what your thoughts and opinions are down in the comments. A musical interlude for you. I've been digging back through some of the old albums that I picked up in the mid-noughties, and a real favourite of mine is from Billy Childish and the Buff Medways, entitled Medway Wheelers. My particular favourite on this album is called I'm a Lie Detector. Now, what you're going to get with Billy Childish and the Buff Medways is very abrasive guitars, distorted drums. The vocals sound like they've been sung through a CB microphone. It's got a very distinct character. I think you'll either really enjoy it, or you might think, what on earth, why does Ed like listening to this? It's nasty, it's sort of dirty and distorted, and I like it though. It's like a canvas and someone's painted the picture in just a few moments to give you the feel of the song. They haven't spent ages messing around with it. It's there, you can look at it and enjoy it just for a brief moment. The title track on this one's called The Man I Am, and it's wonderful. You got distorted, grimy guitars that are slightly out of tune, wonderfully placed harmonica stabs. Billy Childish sounds almost like he's unhinged. He can't be the man that he wants to be. Absolutely fantastic stuff if you can track it down. The Buff Medways with Medway Wheelers. Right, it's time to get some well-earned R&R. I shall catch you soon, cats. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button and click the bell below for notifications of when I launch those new videos. And it really helps the channel grow like a daffodil out of the grass if you give this video a thumbs up like and also share it with your running buddies. My name's EDDBUD and I'll be seeing you.